whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
We have listened to better music. We have seen better things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio, all the way.
You're listening to Zimbabwe's finest radio station, broadcasting worldwide. Zimnet Radio, the people's choice.
It is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's a men's corner show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
Join DJ Sodza and his informative team live every Thursday at 9 p.m. UK time, discussing Zimbabwean politics.
Lleno de matero, como venguita, ahora es en el curo llene huevano, cote matende sete, sacanangano, padara es amnotenga, nenzera sacanaka, mozo Samunenge matora badara izamnotenga nenzira zakanaka moto senozote samunenge matora tesare tinotora zeno zemasedo zotera zenozote zotura como Ahora es en el curo jengerano, cote mate sacanangano, tisa ete cheopomwe, mondo ete mrenga, tesane se vasungwa, vatinenge tabata, tisa ete cheopomwe, mondo ete mrenga, tesane se vasungwa, vatinenge tabata, tesane tinotora, zeno se matero, zotera zeno zote, zatora como venguita, ahora es en el curo llene huevano, cote matende sete, sacanangano, aya ndio mashoko, akataura kare, naevo mamao, vachitesesa, aya ndio mashoko, akataura kare, naevo mamao, vachitesesa, tesare tinotora, zeno de matero, zotera zenozote, zatura como venguita, ahora es en el curo llene huevano, cote matende sete, sacanangano. Kunenzele azemasoja zekunzele batana tote era emdemoyote nenzela zakanaka kunenzele azemasoja zekunzele batana tote era emdemoyote nenzela zakanaka tesale tinotora lleno de matero, zotera zeno zote, zatura como vengue.
Sisine Moria Zimbabwe, ndishipakutenda kandi kuteerera kwamunoita. My thanks to all you guys for the time you spare to listen to us, and we are certainly thankful for everything that you do. All of you guys who participate on the show, we love it, and would like you to continue. My time now, 5 minutes gone after the hour of 10. This is the 5th of April 2018. Tiri pano pa chirungwa che the men's corner. Regai ndi tange nchiti sali waswera seiko ku South Africa.
Taswera kana maswera o DJ Sodza.
Yes, condolences to Winnie Mandela there passing away. Yeah.
Condolences, rest in peace.
Yes.
Good evening, Zimbabweans, wherever you are. I hope you've had a good week.
How has the death of Winnie Mandela been, received there in South Africa?
I don't know. I haven't been out and about, so. But I'm sure up in Joburg and stuff, it's very tight there.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the Mandela, most of the Mandela memorial stuff and everything is there.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, who's eating chips?
Thank you. I don't know now. This is the beauty of. Yes, I think someone is quiet now there. Sekuru maskera sei.
Yasora angu wasora sei msukuru.
Jime remo kitarusha iko sekuru.
Tatu chimbo pemberera.
Muri kupemberera iko.
4-1.
Hey,
Mama Gushira.
DJ Sodza.
Yes.
You forgot. It's Wilbert's birthday today.
Yeah, but he's not here for us to sing happy birthday to him.
Okay.
When he turns up, we'll sing happy birthday to him.
Yeah, you can sing.
Yeah, I'm good at singing, yes.
Happy birthday, Wilbert. Happy birthday, msukuru wangu Wilbert. Mkori kana wakaterera. Wake up, weki.
I'll see John Way next time, Sekuru. Okay.
Yeah. So Sekuru. Yeah. Congratulations. I'm just seeing this now that your mediocre team managed to beat some mediocre team from Russia there.
And your machine from Manchester was reduced to rubble.
You've got to lose sometimes.
You lose up. You can't lose by 3-0 in successive games. No.
When they go to Man City grounds to play, then Man City gonna whip them.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Manchester City are so afraid of Liverpool. I think they will run away. They don't want to see anything else. They are afraid.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Daspera DJ Sodza. Masera sei vedari, masera sei Zimbabweans pamuri mese.
Aiwa. Vakateerera vari kuzvinzwa. Sisirozi maswera sei ku America?
I'm okay. How are you guys? How's everybody?
Yeah, no, we are doing well. How are you there? Everything fine?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Thank you so much. Mukoma Wilbert.
Hello, sir. Hello, everybody.
Yes, Sekuru would like to sing something for you. Just hold on. Sekuru, please go ahead.
Wilbert is a grown-up man. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Wilbert.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hip hip hooray!
Hey, right. You see, Mukoma will better. I think you are now a bit wiser, isn't it?
I've been trying to stop counting my years since I turned 25, but you people keep reminding me.
Yeah, good. Well, old gracefully.
Hey, guys, you know what? There's a guy I worked with for 9 years where I work, and he was 42, and he had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago, and he died. So please, each year that is added to your life, you have to be grateful.
Yes.
You know.
Exactly.
On a serious note.
Condolences, eh?
Yeah, you see, these things do happen, don't they? Right. Okay. Now, guys, we've got a lot of things we want to talk about here today. Thank you so much, those who are just joining in. We are just talking politics and all the rest of it. But you know, on this show, we try to accommodate whatever is happening. And if you've got something out there that you feel that we might want to talk about, or you might want the people to know what's happening, please, you're always free to get in touch with me and suggest something. If you want to come on board, you can come on and participate and do whatever you want to do. If you just want to write something to me, you can do that. Whatever you want to do. My contact details, WhatsApp is easier these days. 0798 4455 349. Get in touch and we'll see what we can do. Now, Tete Rosie. Tete Rosie, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had my thing on mute.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering here. I spoke to you, I don't know, about 4 or 5 days ago about these Cyprus students. I know it's an old thing. A lot of people are telling me it's an old thing that has happened before and whatnot. But you feel very strongly about it. What would you like to say?
Well, it's not just Cyprus. It's just that the reason why Cyprus has come to the forefront is because Zimbabwean students are getting arrested for crimes. So it has come to the forefront now because those students have gotten in trouble. But this whole situation of Zimbabwean students being stranded overseas has been ongoing now for the last few years. We had students stranded not just in Cyprus, we had students stranded in Russia, in Algeria, even in South Africa. There's several issues going on. There were the case of students who are on a presidential scholarship, and then there's a case of students who were promised certain things by agencies that were recruiting and promised they were getting them scholarships. So there were two things actually happening. And if people were following, you'd have noticed that even during the time before Mugabe left, there were students who were actually tweeting Jonathan Moyo, asking him to help out because these students had not received their stipends to help them with cost of living. They had not received those stipends for almost 3 years. And you'll find that the situation of those students who were stranded overseas was actually tabled as a motion in Parliament by MP Jesse Majome in 2017 to table the motion demanding that students on a presidential scholarship funds be dispersed because she was getting a ton of students who were emailing her and other MPs who were stranded overseas on the presidential scholarship. She tabled that motion in Parliament and was seconded by the MDC MP from Mutasa South, Trevor. They tabled that motion demanding to know how the government was planning to resolve the issue of students who were stranded. These students have been turning to prostitution, drug trafficking, pretty much just doing things to survive because there's limited employment in these countries that they're in, and there's not a lot of ways that they can actually survive. I think in late 2017, I think it was in October, some of them were told to return home as they were stranded, but some of them were saying that they actually needed money to even return home. So for me, this is an issue where we have a lot of students who are out there are trying to study, trying to find a better life for themselves, and then they're ending up falling victims to agencies and other predators who know people are struggling in Zimbabwe, and they promise them some things, and these people end up in other countries doing traffic, ending up in prostitution, doing things that we don't want to see our children doing. And this is what I strongly feel very strongly about this. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a politician. I'm a citizen. The reason why I even got involved in politics was because of the young, struggling people in Zimbabwe. That was my only concern. How do we save these young people? People were jobless on the streets of Rank University, were not employed. People were getting stranded overseas. Young girls were not going to school or ending up in prostitution at the age of 9. This is what concerns me more than the politics of the politicians, because those are the people that actually matter. And we need everybody to start really looking at this issue and not just ignoring it. Because this is an issue of our children being stranded somewhere.
You said that there were some students that went out, courtesy of the presidential scholarship. Was this Robert Mugabe's government or it's Mnangagwa's government?
It was Robert Mugabe's government. So these kids went out. I'm not sure right now whether this scholarship is being administered. But if it's not being administered, then I feel very strongly that the government of the day needs to figure out how to rescue these kids and repatriate them back if they're not going to take care of them.
Right. Do we know where all these students are? Is it one country or it's many countries?
No, it's now many countries. We have students in Nigeria, in Algeria. We have students in Russia. We have students in Cyprus. So these students are in a lot of places. And then also there's the matter of the government needs to also look into these agencies that are actually victimizing these young people, making promises that they're getting them a place at a university. They're saying that you have a scholarship. And then when they get to these countries, they're ending up victims instead of actually getting the scholarships that they were promised. These kids, all these children are trying to do, they're trying to get away from a hopeless situation in Zimbabwe, not knowing that they're getting into an even worse situation where they don't have a roof over their head, they don't have their parents, they don't have anyone. They're thinking they're doing something better for themselves.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm just going to teach Masquera Zego. He cannot stop smiling. Now, because Tete Rosie sent me a message. She's very concerned about this issue. My students, Akatumi were outside, and now nobody is paying school fees for them or accommodation or something, and some students are devoting to prostitution and the rest of it. And she's not very happy about this. For me, really, I didn't know much about it. Do you know much about this? It's been going on?
I have absolutely no sympathy for them.
Right.
Zero.
Okay.
These people sign scholarship agreements that are very clear on what will be provided to them. And they are clearly told what elements they will have to contribute. They jump onto these things having actually signed the agreement. It was the same with the presidential scholarship, and ended up with girls that would allow themselves to be slept with by senior officials, including the minister directly responsible in Fort Hare and Cape Town, that were beneficiaries of the presidential scholarship. This problem is nothing to do with where they are. Students even at MSU and University of Zimbabwe, African, even during the war, we had people that came came from ingori nhubu makuhondo vanhu vakuti magandanga inhubu no akatobva kumba kwavo achingori nhubu even kuarmy you got people nhubu vanobva kumba kwavo vari nhubu atozobata futi becomes worse. So you've got these girls vanobva kumba kuri restricted, suddenly they've got this freedom and they suddenly want a higher life than zvavakafambira kuchikoro. We have a very clear example of that 14-year-old girl who went to university early and did very well akapedza chikoro chake achigara pachikoro with the most minimal budget and boys are surviving on this budget. Why are girls becoming prostitutes?
Right. So, Mkomatichi, it looks to me that you do know much about these things. Now, can you tell me, Kuti, my contracts akasainwa aya, murukutaura kuti mimi these kids are wanting to live a lavish life which they cannot afford?
100%. 100%. Every scholarship will cover the basic needs of that particular.
Okay, so what teacher is saying that their disbursement that has not been dispersed, they're not supposed to get? Is that what you're saying?
No, I am saying they're getting what they're supposed to get unless.
But they're not. But they're not. They're not. They're not. Don't say they're getting it. No, they're not.
Are you gonna talk on yourself or you ask me?
No,
but you keep insisting that they're getting. You're making something that they're getting something they're not getting.
My dear, if these students are sponsored by none other than the government, they're getting their scholarship. We are talking about foreign-based students, which means they've got foreign sponsorship.
But they have not.
Hold on,
Rosie. Let him finish.
Let him finish first, then we can leave the discussion.
Okay, right. Okay, go ahead then, Teteros.
He's saying that they're getting money that they haven't gotten. These kids, they last got their stipend for the 2015 to 16 year. They haven't gotten anything from 2016 to 17.
Right. All right.
So you're saying, Kuti, these kids, what they were supposed to get that they didn't get is their fault? This is wrong. How can you be this heartless?
All right. Okay. No, I think for the purpose of progressing, Teteros, what I would want you to do, right? It looks like you've got some kind of contact with some of these students, right? Are we together there?
Yes.
Yes, I would like you to bring a couple of them students so that they can explain to us what was in the contract and what is it that was in the contract that they are not getting.
We actually have someone right now who's actually in one of those countries compiling everything. This is wrong. I'm shocked that someone would actually say something like that, like you don't have children.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay, I have to get off because this upsets me.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Right. Okay. So, Mkomatichi.
Yeah.
Right. So, in your opinion, this is what is happening, that the scholarship that they were offered, they are getting that money, but these students wanting more than they should be getting.
100%.
Aha, thank you so much for that. And this is what you are you got
comment there.
Yes.
My understanding of the situation is that, particularly to the students in Russia, I understand that the Russian government or whatever body in Russia had promised to give them the scholarship to cover their tuition, and then the Zimbabwe government was supposed to cover their living expenses. I'm not sure whether it applies to all these students in question here, but there was definitely one group where the Russians were paying the school fees, but the Zimbabwe government was supposed to pay for their living expenses, was not paying the living expenses, which was a problem for the students. Of course, having your school fees paid is one thing, but if you still need to live as well. But also, to come back to South Africa, there definitely was a case, particularly with the presidential students on a presidential scholarship, where government was not paying their tuition and living expenses. And I think if Peve is there, he could substantiate it. Because I remember this was the time when Tendai BT was Minister of Finance. And one of the things he said is, we will not pay this presidential scholarship because it's benefiting ZANU-PF students. It's not benefiting everybody. And Mugabe, in the end, in 2013 election, definitely did raise the money himself and paid it. So the point there is there's definitely been a case where government was involved and was not paying the tuition fees and living expenses in the case of South Africa. But I think in the case of, if I'm not mistaken, it's Russia, where the Russian authorities were paying the tuition and government was not paying the living expenses.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much for clarifying. You're saying that with different countries there is different, arrangements in situ there. Thank you so much. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah. What was happening there, Gucci, and this is found back since 1980. My scholarships are in various categories, depending with the host country. The host country might say, pay tuition kit, and then the other living, the give costs meet with the Zimbabwean government, and there were lots of other countries like that, and South Africa being one as well. Then there were other generous so-called scholarships where the host country would meet everything, but those were also few. But the problem, like what he said, those scholarships IP were on partisan basis. Now, Pakaita problem when the country got broke, as we all know up to now. Even my ambassadors, they've not been paid. People working in the embassy have not been paid. What more my students? These are people who are actually bringing in something to the country. But I ask Kutambira because Marapan. What more to the students? Vakaenda on a scholarship. Yes, tuition might be paid, but living expenses zeroish because remainder in.
So what they Murukuti really these students have got a problem. This enough to teach probably some of them are wanting to.
I think it is unfortunate that we find ourselves in that in this situation. You get to sacrifice young innocent people. I mean, Nyama scholarship is not unique to Zimbabwe. Nyama scholarship is a global issue in my countries. It's bilateral. But those countries, they look after their own youth, and because the youth is the future. And what we've done is, because of incompetence, because of corruption, we've surrendered this young generation in the absurd situation in Yavari. So it's not about, it's not their own making. It's the government's fault.
All right. Thank you so much, Mkomatish. And Skuzoti Sali, you've got anything you know about this scholarships? And which side of the fence are you here? Do you think the students are just being a bit greedy here, or they're in a dire situation?
No, look, the problem with Rosie and Titch is neither one is understanding the other. Well, the one didn't explain very well. The problem with the students in Cyprus, a lot of the students have gone on what supposedly were private scholarships, only to get to Cyprus, to the universities, and find out that there was no such thing. Now they found out that there are some agencies in Zimbabwe that these students apparently signed up with, okay, that said there were these scholarships. So what happened was these students signed up, went for these supposedly scholarships, got to Cyprus, went to the universities, and the universities had never even heard of it. Okay, so they'd signed up under false pretenses. So that's the problem that's there in Cyprus with this student thing. Okay, it was a case of agencies in Zimbabwe. They're trying to find out who they are and all that kind of business. Okay. That got students to sign up under false pretenses for scholarships that didn't exist. So now that's what's happened. Now the students have landed there. They've got no money to get back and all this kind of business. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, some have been had up. I think 8 of them were arrested for crimes. They were all apparently the ones that got sent to jail were from these private scholarship things that didn't exist. So the problem started in Zimbabwe, and the students, being naive, didn't go into it further before they left the country, or their parents or one of their relatives didn't help them to go into it further, okay? And these kids landed there with nothing. There's no scholarships, there's nothing. It was all false pretenses. So that's what I think Rosie was talking about.
Okay, thank you so much. DJ, the Cyprus issue is affecting students on private universities brought by agents who get commission from these universities. Kwanziko Sally has got the correct information there. Thank you so much, Sally. And Sekuru, apart from watching your beloved Arsenal, have you been watching what's happening with these students?
I watch everything that happens to Zimbabweans.
Yes, Sekuru, what's your take on this one?
The problem is there are issues regarding scholarships. When you say the presidential scholarship, you seem to think that because it is the presidential scholarship, it must be a government scholarship. It's not. It's a private arrangement by the
president.
Yeah. For his 21st of February movement, the supporters. So that's why the BT said, I'm not going to pay this because these are partisan scholarships. Now, when he says that, people think he is trying to sabotage the children. But no, he's just reminding you that this scholarship is not a government scholarship. It's a private arrangement. Then there is what Sally, which I totally subscribe to, what Sally has just said. These are private arrangements, and you can't blame the government for not paying what they didn't enter into contract to do. However, a government that does not care about its own citizens when they are in trouble is not worthy to be a government of the people. It's like anybody who seeks asylum here or wherever in the world, or who has run away from Zimbabwe, if they get into a calamity, the government of Zimbabwe must come to their aid and help them out, even if it means on a credit basis. But surely it is wrong for us to then say, because I made their own arrangement, they must suffer. That is where the problem is. I think they made their own arrangements because there is a problem at home. The problem is institutional, and now they find that they are in the deeper end, and they need somebody to pull them out. And the only person who can do that is the government that was elected by the people to look after our security, safety and security. So as far as I'm concerned, there are a mixture of everything in what has been said. But don't say to Rosie she doesn't know what she's talking about. She knows what she's talking about because these things are happening. And don't say to Tichy he doesn't know what he's talking about because he knows there are these students on the scholarship, the government scholarship, that have squandered money on luxuries instead of what it was intended for.
Right.
So
Okay.
we can't just group everybody in the same basket. Let's look at each case on its own merit. The people, the students in Cyprus have got a different problem. They were cheated into a contract which they didn't understand, and now they're in trouble. Do we let them die and rot, or do we pull them out of the fire?
Thank you. But Seguru, I know that with Zimbabwe, there is no money there and it's difficult. Because, I don't know, Seguru, which passport you're using. Because I remember when the uprising happened in Egypt there, I saw the British said everyone with a British passport in Egypt, a free ticket to come home. They sent, my flights there to pick people. Unongoenda wakabata passport yako ye British, then wopinda mdege wodzoka kunoko. That's what a normal working government should do when its citizens are in a dire situation somewhere, isn't it?
Yes, that's what they should do. And this issue in Uramba repeat about hakuna mali. This is a ruse, man. There is some money somewhere because when a certain thing is going to happen, you find it happens, the money is paid.
Yes.
How is that possible? You find, they are talking about clearing my areas, IMF, but they are saying we don't have money. Which is more important, to save a Zimbabwean citizen in dire stress or to pay IMF their areas?
And who paid for Mnangagwa's private plane to go to China? Who's paying for that?
These are some of the things that we see happening, and then we don't want to add 1 + 1 and say this is 2. We say 1 + 1 is -2.
All right, Sekuru. Thank you so much for that. The guy Chingamidze, Chief Soswe. Chief Soswe, welcome to the show.
Makadi DJ, makadi vamwese vari pachirongwa, makadi muri yeZimbabwe.
Aiwa, tinofara. Chief Soswe, I don't know kuti mama katerera here earlier on when I introduced this. We just want to talk about it a little bit because we want to move on to other things. But Tetero's approach to me, Wakatiwo, she's very distressed with what's happening with some of the students that are sent outside Zimbabwe. And when they get there, they see that the situation is not as gross as they are promised when they are still back home. Sometimes, and we are seeing some students now resorting to sell drugs, smuggling drugs and prostitution. And, Mkomatish said that, you see, he hasn't got sympathy with some of the students because they want to live a lavish life. And, that's not acceptable. What side of the coin are you in?
Well, definitely I sympathize with these young souls.
Yeah.
Most of them are there not because they wanted to be there. They are dragged into this situation mostly by our government. And like everyone was saying, these government scholarships or government-to-government scholarships or presidential scholarships, you don't just get them if you are an ordinary citizen. You have to belong to ZANU-PF or be connected to someone who is high up there in ZANU-PF. That be as it may, we will not blame the children for what their parents are or for the connections that their parents are. But what I would want to say is this is not the first time that we have had Zimbabwean students going outside Zimbabwe and getting stranded, and hearing that they are now resorting to prostitution so that they can survive. It's not the first time. It has happened in South Africa, it has happened in China, it happened in Russia, it happened in Cyprus. Not only this year, even last year, there were wide reports about Zimbabwean students engaging in prostitution because they don't have money. And I lay the blame squarely on the government because they are supposed to pay their part. They have this government-to-government arrangements. They are supposed to pay their part. Our government never pays because they don't have money. They say they don't have money. And I'm not surprised. Even in Zimbabwe, we have a program that the government runs with primary schools, which is called BEAM. The primary school fees, sometimes it's $10, sometimes it's $14 for some of the primary schools. And the government has been failing to pay. I can bring you a headmaster here who will tell you that the government has not been paying for those students, for the past 3-4 years. So I will not be surprised that they are failing to pay for the students that they send outside the country. And, like what Sekuru says, it's our government, it's a government. If a Zimbabwean citizen is in trouble, particularly a young Zimbabwean, the government should intervene because it's the name of Zimbabwe that is getting into disrepute. It's pointless for us to come here on radio and start blaming private people or private companies, private people who offer scholarships. I don't know how that happens because even if it is private, when you're there, you sign forms that also go to the school, and any parent, I wouldn't just send my child to Cyprus without contacting that school. I would definitely contact the school, what's going on here, what is going to happen, what if, you will not just send a child without finding out what exactly is happening there. So personally, I've seen it happening. I have friends, I have relatives who have taken that presidential scholarship in South Africa, and they were not being paid. The government wasn't paying. So I lay the blame squarely on the government.
Thank you so much, Chief Soshe, for that. I think for the purpose of moving on, get it move on. And so mukoma ubet mama peza resha mamuda kutaura apo kana kuti tofambira mberi. Mukoma Wilbert.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Right. Zvanga kuita panapa Zimbabwe ndinoda kuti ndimbodaika. Ndimbonzwawo zvangu kuti zviri kuitika. I know that we talked a little bit more about nyaya dzana Chamisa and MDC and all that. But it's just a clarity I want to hear here kuti zviri kuitika. So Sekuru.
Yes.
Now, the MDC, has everything been sorted now? The dust is settled? Everyone behind Chamisa now, and there's no quarrels there?
Far from it. It's actually deteriorating.
I saw on the social media that there will be in Bulawayo, I think on Saturday, a big rally there with President Chamisa. So you are saying that there is even more problems now than there were before.
The thing is, these young people are fun on paper. Missouri aisu kuona zvandiri kuona isu harawadzawo. Right. Too slow and we think negatively todzosera zvinhu shure. But no, we just want them to do the right thing, and then agaita the right thing, they take everybody on board, and then they win properly. But no, they don't want that. They have left all the old people behind. Vari kufamba nenhambwe dzakamhanya chaizvo zvokuti vechidhara sesusoka hatichatombonzwisi kuti vave papi. But all I can tell you is there is more trouble brewing than there is solutions coming.
Okay. So, in your view, Sekuru, what is causing all this? And can you tell me what you think is going to happen in the coming weeks or months?
What is going to happen? I can tell you what is going to happen right now.
Yes.
That the MDC alliance is going to have its own squabbles within that alliance, and then there is going to be an MDC squabble between the regions, It's now going to be a tribal party. It's no longer going to be a national party as we used to know it, because they've chosen to side with a group of people that is going to hit them really hard in the very near future. Because we've got these documents which prove that there are some people, some vouchers that are circulating around the MDCT for the purposes of being elected into parliament, because they know the MDC has got the numbers to get them into parliament. But then the problem is they are using a young person, Chamisa, to get them there. But Chamisa will not get elected to become president. And when that happens,
sorry, Sekuru, what makes you think that people will not elect Chamisa?
Because we have got documents which show that even if he is elected, he's not going to be appointed. He's not going to be installed. He needs an overwhelming majority of votes, which he will not get because now they are splitting. I'm getting a feedback from
teach.
Hello.
Yes, what are you saying? Are you interjecting, Sekuru, there?
No, I only said I wish they listened to you, Sekuru.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, Sekuru, criticizing.
There are these documents we've got this intelligence which says whatever happens, if the MDC goes into the election divided, whatever happens, they will not be able to find the presidential candidate to win. Whether he wins, whether he doesn't win, it is neither here nor there. They are now in the cul-de-sac where if they go into this election divided as they are now, that will be the excuse the Lacoste faction will want to use to say, how can they win? They are now 7 parties divided into fragments.
Right. Okay.
So now the other problem that they have is now they've copied the Mugabe style of campaigning, and they are busing people right now. Yesterday there were thousands of vanguard people, these youngsters, our youngsters in Rwanda, drumming up support. They are from Harare. They are drumming up support in Rwanda. Are they going to vote in Rwanda?
So, Guru, you are telling me that Kuti, what the MDC alliance led by Nelson Chamisa, what they are doing exactly what Mugabe used to do, to go there and bus people and mobilize people to just come there so that people will think it's wow, there's a lot of people and all that, but these people are not going to vote.
Exactly. If you check the number of people that were because in Mrewa they introduced the number of MPs who were there. If you checked, there were more Bulawayo-based MPs than they were in Mashola-based MPs of the MDC.
All right. So, Guru, everything is on record, and there might be some breaking news coming after these elections as well. But I just want to have a legacy of really try to go back and copy and paste and see what you guys are saying. So, Sekuru, I heard what you said. What should MDC do right now for them to win this election, in your opinion?
The dispute is not a dispute of principles. The dispute is not a dispute it's a procedural dispute. A procedural dispute that they are saying we don't want to follow a procedure which is in the Constitution. Now, when they do that, they lose all the trust that has been banked into the party for years, because what has been holding us together has been the regulatory authority under which we were operating, the constitution. Once you start shredding the constitution and putting it in the bin and then retrieving it when you want to. For instance, right now they are saying the National Council doesn't recognize the Kupe, they fired Kupe. If you say you have fired Kupe and she's the deputy president, and the constitution says you can't fire the person in the National Standing Committee unless you have set up a proper disciplinary procedure to deal with that issue.
Know about your business.
What are you saying? Is the constitution only useful when you want to fire people, and when you don't, when you want to appoint people, you don't recognize it?
All right.
So to answer you direct,
yeah,
the current National Council has gone wrong.
Right.
It has got to go back and so search it and say, what is the legacy that was bequeathed to us by the late President Morgan Tsvangirai? When there is a problem in the party which is constitutional, what must we do? And it's written in the constitution what they must do. They should just do that, and then they will be back on track. Everybody will be on board.
And for some of us who haven't got that constitution, what must be done?
If there is a dispute on a legal issue, it must be referred to the Arbiter General. And the Arbiter General must be a person who is qualified to be a judge of the High Court. They are saying the National Council. The National Council cannot do that. They are not the Arbiter General.
Okay. Aywa. Sekuru, thank you so much. You know, like I said, the older you get, the wiser you get. That's what you'd like to say, Sekuru, isn't it?
Well, I don't know whether I'm wise or I'm slowing them down.
Yeah.
The thing is, sometimes wisdom is slow in making people realize the reality of the thing. At the present moment, they are sitting on a time bomb. A time bomb they will not be able to defend when it explodes. For argument's sake, let's assume on nomination day, we have somebody working in President Chamisa MDC alliance. And then we have another person working in, let's say, Gutu for argument's sake. Gutu, President MDCT. How are they going to stop MDCT registering when they are registering as MDC Alliance?
Wow. Thank you, Sekuru. Whatever.
Yes.
Yes. Whatever. I know that you are with the Alliance full time yourself, and hearing what Sekuru is saying there, what would you like to say? And all the rest of it, really, this is just pathetic what Sekuru is saying, and he should just suck up and move on.
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to pose some questions. Are there any issues in MDC? No, there are no issues. Are there differences in MDC? Yes, there are differences. Have they been resolved? Some has been resolved. Are there some outstanding? Of course, in any organization, in any political organization, there will always be political dynamics, and actually it enriches democracy. Now, let's go back to I think there is a mistake of thinking could Nyaya Kupe came because of Chamisa. No, it didn't come because of Chamisa. It's the appointment by the National Council. Remember, Kupe was against the MDC alliance, irrespective that the MDC alliance was endorsed by the Congress in 2014, which is the supreme body. I think if you reflect, you have had lots of time. Tsvangirai, when he was still alive, I thought about the Big Tent. The Big Tent was the coalition, which Tsvangirai and the leadership were empowered to come up with a coalition. Kupe was there. Kupe endorsed the Big Tent. Right? Now, when the coalition was actually emerging, that the shape was emerging, the problem was actually Washmen versus Kupe in Malabeleland. It's more of a regional powers, nothing to do with the MDC per se. This is why Tsvangirai died trying to persuade Kupe to come on board, because the Congress endorsed that, the National Council endorsed the alliance. Not only that, the National Council also empowered the president to go on an outreach, and he did go on an outreach all the provinces, and the consensus was that in alliance. Sorry?
May I ask a question, please?
Can I finish? Then you can ask. The consensus was that an alliance was required. It was the only way that MDC has not explored since 2000 that would make a difference in terms of the electoral voting process. It therefore was endorsed by all the structures. But anyway, Kupe disassociated with it. This is why she wasn't even attending the meeting. That's fine. It is a democratic right for her. Now, that's one aspect. The next aspect is how was Chamisa? I think there's this mistake that people think that Chamisa appointed himself as the MDCT president interim. It's an interim, by the way, because there is no Congress as yet, according to the Constitution, and that he also appointed himself the MDC alliance, right? But look at it. Neither Kupe, nor Chamisa, nor Muzuri had the powers to call for an extraordinary Congress other than the National Council.
No. The person with
Can I finish? The decision is made at the National Council, right? Yes, the chairman would do, the national chairman would do that. The national chairman who was not even attending meetings. The national chairman who, as we speak, resigned, right? But the chairman would do that after chairing a national council, right? The National Council constituted as it was. I've never heard any complaint whether, if somebody has come to say the National Council that made that decision was not constituted, then I will be the first person not to endorse anything that is not constituted. But nobody is talking about the constitutionality of the National Council. If the National Council 75% endorses that this is the way forward, then of course nobody should. You can only, yes, there are other avenues. Yes, you can go to the courts for redress. It's allowed within the constitution of the MDC. Otherwise, you have to wait for the Congress, which is the supreme body, after the National Council. But now, if you look at it, yes, the National Council made that decision to do an appointment, an interim. By the way, it's an interim appointment, because the Constitution says it has to be within the 12 months. It is only a coincidence that our dear President Tsvangirai died a few months before the election. The Constitution does not have the provision, never envisaged that what will happen in the event of this that, of a 3 months Yes, it's 12 months within the Congress. But what will happen if there's an election within 4 months? Do you do an extraordinary Congress before then, or you still stick to the 12 months as per the Constitution? I mean, this is why a Constitution is an evolving document, where if we go in the national, when we go next in the National Congress, things like this will have to be looked into, right? Yes. Now let's look at now the next one is that even if, let's say, Chamisa wins the election, then he will not be sworn in, and that is, well, he's not gonna. Well, the fact is that, I mean, the assertion is that he's not gonna win the election. I'll be very surprised if any one of us on the panel, including the Mnangagwa, including the army, including the executive of the MDC, knows the outcome of this year's election. Mind you, we are going into an election using a totally new system which we have never used before. We are, whether ZANU-PF or MDC. By the way, we are going into this election where none of the presidential candidates have been presidential candidates before. Right? Mnangagwa has never been a presidential candidate. Chamisa has never been a presidential candidate. Madam Mujuru has never been a presidential candidate. Any other, whether there are 107 candidates. So this is an ambiguous scenario that we are facing. So all I'm saying is the due process, as far as MDC has been done, and I think what we need to do is to rally behind a person duly appointed by the National Council in the interim to move forward. And this is where we are. And the reason why I am supporting is I ask myself the very questions that I started in earlier on. And those questions, to me, they were answered. They were ticked throughout. And this is where we are.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's a good is dying to chip in there. Nkoma has explained a lot of things, and I want to respect all those things that he's made. But that is not the crux of the matter of Sekuru's presentation. Sekuru's presentation was simple about the constitutional process of expelling a vice president. All the other history we all know is what led to that situation. Now, that situation clearly shows that Kupe did not mince her words about her opposition to the alliance. And Tsvangirai never sought to use the National Council to fire her since 2016-2017 when all these things were mooted. And since last year specifically, when the alliance started holding meetings and Tsvangirai became its chairman, and the actual launch was done, she boycotted that. She was clear in her opposition to it because there is no constitutional requirement in MDC that obliges her to support what she doesn't agree with. But right now, MDC is fired for being against that and boycotting the alliance meetings, and without even following its own procedures about going to an arbitrator or their own internal disciplinary procedures, where she has actually had charges specifically put to her, where a hearing has been conducted, where by her own choice she could bring a lawyer to advise her and she could present her own side of the story. No, it's been arbitrary, where people that support Chamisa in the National Council, we elected, are bullying everyone. And from a legal point, I just want them to come up to explain
that's fine.
Dispute.
Yeah. All those my suggestions they were exhausted, and she did not appear before the committee. She did not engage. And mind you, I don't know where you are getting this notion that the National Council is no power, where an official, whether elected or appointed, is unwilling to engage and is not coming forthwith to follow the process, the constitutional process. Remember, even Gibson Sibanda was the vice president of MDC. Who fired Gibson Sibanda? It was the National Council. We didn't see you, we didn't hear you coming here and say that he was fired unconstitutionally. Gibson Sibanda, for your information, was the founding vice president of the party.
No, you are the founding president.
Can I ask that?
Whoa. You have to be very careful there, right? You have to be very careful there. He was not right.
Can I ask a question?
Gibson Sibanda.
I'll give you opportunity to hold on. Can
I answer? Yes. Gibson Sibanda was an interim president before MDC was formally launched.
That's correct. So you are the first.
What I'm saying is, he is not the founding. You know, when the party was formally constituted as a political party.
Listen, Mkoma. Yes, I understand when president of ZANU-PF before the Gweru Congress, etc. Gibson Sibanda, it's not a big deal, it's semantics. Gibson Sibanda was the founding president. That's the truth.
Okay, look, what I'm telling you is yes, I talked about an interim before it was fully formed as a political party. He was the president, right? But I'm saying Gibson Sibanda was the first vice president of MDC as a political party. But however, when he actually decided to go at tangent with the constitution of the party, the same National Council, Yamurutawada, powers, Yogita dislodged a vice president, met, and he did make a decision. And Gibson Sibanda was fired.
Let me leave you to proceed. Otherwise, just period.
Yeah. So Coupe this is not new that Coupe can be fired by National Council.
That's not
before he has been fired and it's constitutional.
Let's have a discussion. I will only tell you in the simplest terms. It seems more than you. When MDC split, Welshman Ngube, David Coltart, and all these people, including your then president or vice president, went away with MDC. MDCT then emerged from that and remained strong. And that is still the legal position that MDC yakatoenda naNgube, and that is the ticket yakutoshandisa kuti kwa MDC. So kuti muzoti mimi makafaya baba munakuvafaya vakatoenda nepati imimi ndimi vakatofaiwa mukasaiwa.
Look, can I make it clear? I think I respect the para question yambobvunzwa na DJ. No, I think this is cool. But what will happen kuti ngati Guto on the day of nomination, I register as president of MDCT, Chamisa MDC Alliance. What will happen? I think that was a valid question, which needed also a sort of critical analysis. That's exactly Panyaya Tilbutawaraneza, your Gibson Sibanda. Gibson Sibanda, if you remember. Hang on. If you remember what happened with Gibson Sibanda and Washburn was at this site, and they actually fired Changrai.
Yes.
Right? And the National Council then met the problem. The National Council, our Wakaenda never but majority National Council yakasara na Changrai.
That's correct.
So the National Council then looked, then review what does the constitution say. And it constitution not majority. Well, that's majority. And they are intelligent. Let's fire them. That's why avana kuenda vachinofoma party yavo inyuwa nayo.
Mimi ndimakatosara muchifoma MDCT. That's why nanhasi officially is in the MDCT. That's a fact, Mkoma. The watchman move, hold on. Watchman move MDC. I in the MDCN, not the MDC, the original.
Teach.
It remains the original MDC.
Can you please listen? Right. You are trying to convert the preacher.
Okay.
Right? Pakaitika panyaya yokuti pazeta MDCT. Pawakaenda yakaenda ili MDC and vakatista MDC. They actually took the party to court to nullify kuti Changrai has a chance MDC, if you remember. Right? But anyway, what happened is that MDC, because the court yakaita throw that away anyway. This one I now tanga MDC, yana watchman. Yakaita MDCM. Mtambara, M from Mtambara.
No. That is just media distinction in Koma. Even on paper, can I complete? For identity.
Wati yakasara MDCT akasara MDCM, which is not true.
No, that MDC yakatoenda na Welshman Ngube na David Coltart.
Hang on. What I'm saying is Zakanga 0 MDC 02 up to the final day of nomination court 02. As in Zimbabwe, MDC are two parties. Then ZEC look on the basis of this will confuse people, right? Yes, we understand with the Panama outstanding Panama this and that, to distinguish the two MDCs. Let's FG. You put the letter of the leader, each one of you, and that was coming from ZEC to distinguish.
All right.
First side at the score.
Okay.
ECT and MDCM.
All right. Okay. Wapepe. Batai makadaro na mkoma teach. No, this Sekuru watanga before Teterosi. Sekuru, you wanted to ask a question there.
Mr. Pepe, wanga wane constitution here. I don't know. Pavari papa.
Well, Pandit Panaban, not constitution. But it does not necessarily mean I don't know it.
No, I doubt it's clause 912G. You know about the Chico constitution.
What does it say? Karamina.
Pandiri Panava 912 Inotaura says, notwithstanding any power elsewhere to convene any extraordinary meeting of Congress or ordinary National Council or the Executive Provincial Council or External Assembly, the President shall have the power of convening any such Congress, Council or meeting. Now, Murukuti, Chamisa angasina power. Kupe angasina power.
Yeah,
angasina power. Changira chete ndi only power ere. Kana kuti Murukuti or something.
No. In the event, you know the national chairman, isn't it? The national chairman, even the constitution, further if you the national chairman, there are no call for either the National Council or the Congress.
No, can I read the clause again? I don't think. Can I read it again?
Okay.
Read it again.
It says, notwithstanding any power elsewhere in this constitution to convene any extraordinary meeting of Congress or ordinary National Council or the National Executive Provincial Council or the External Assembly or the External Assembly, the President shall have the power to convene any such Congress, Council, or meeting.
Yes, I got it. But what I'm saying is...
So what are you saying? Are you saying Tsvangirai Chitende have the power to do that? Or anybody acting in his position could do that?
No. What I'm saying is, even in Tsvangirai, first of all, it is the National Council which he can call the National Council. That's constitutional. That's
no, that's not what this section is saying. This section is saying, notwithstanding any of that, what you are saying, notwithstanding that the National Council can call for a Congress, notwithstanding that the Provincial Assembly can call for a National Congress, notwithstanding that the National Executive can vote for a National Congress.
That's for a president. I can understand. You are talking, that provision is for a president, isn't it?
The president can do that.
Yes,
without
I know that. I'm saying that's for the president.
Right.
None of Kupe would do. That's what I'm saying. Kupe wouldn't do that. Chamisa would do that.
Now that we have agreed.
Sorry?
Now that we have agreed on that the president could do that.
Yeah, the president, but these are not presidents. These were none of the three were presidents.
Exactly, I know that. This is exactly what I was going to tell you. By operation of the Constitution, in terms of Section 921, 21(2), what happens in the event of the death of a president or the dismissal or leaving of the part of the president?
Yeah, but then we then talk of the acting president.
No, the acting president. What happens when the president dies or is dismissed, according to Section 921(2)?
So the acting president takes over and then organizes an extraordinary Congress within 12 months.
No, not the acting president, the deputy president.
Well, the deputy president becomes the acting president.
No, it doesn't become the acting president. He becomes
the interim becomes the interim president because you are not elected.
And therefore assumes these powers.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you are a deputy president. If you are a deputy president, right, you become an interim until you are elected at the Congress.
Correct, but because the party business has got to continue. The person now at the helm, who is now the president, the recognized interim president, can assume these powers because she is interim or he is interim. Correct. So why was Toko not allowed to exercise this instead of the National Council?
But Seguruka, you are forgetting that constitution is silent on the three vice president.
Exactly.
The reason
before you go any further, just to hold on there.
Yeah.
The Constitution does not talk about vice presidents.
Yeah, because that two were appointed after. But now realized.
Just wait, Pepe. In the Constitution, there is no talk about vice presidents. There's talk of a deputy president.
We agree. That's what I'm saying. At the Congress, there was one deputy president, right?
Even now,
the vice presidents were appointed after the Congress, right?
But let me ask you.
After the Congress, after they were appointed, there were challenges, but that was not in the Constitution, which I think it was perfect, right? and it was right. The president the National Council then regularized. In other words, it was adopted in the constitution.
You don't want it to be advised on this because you are already bought into a certain dogma, which is incorrect.
No, I'm listening.
I am telling you now, Kuti, in the constitution, there is only talk of one deputy president and one president. And those two people were there until 14 February. When one died, the other one took over immediately by operation of the constitution. The other two, vice presidents, were appointed by Changirai. And yes, Murimoga challenged their appointment. But what happened in court was, when Murimoga went to court, he was asked for his credentials to challenge the appointment. And the appointment, Murimoga was found not to be an authentic member of the MDC, a subscribed member of the MDC, with no local standing to challenge this.
Yes.
And therefore, on that technicality, the matter was dismissed.
Yes.
Not lost.
But before that,
let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. If Toko had challenged that as the DP, would the court have arrived at the same decision?
Well, look at it. I wouldn't do at any given time try to set myself in that situation, which has never happened.
Okay, right.
Was that subject to the court?
Yes, okay. Please. Phone up and they are waiting. Teterosi, please, can I give you one question?
Okay, I have one question how many people voted for the dismissal of these people, and what does your constitution say about the number of people who vote? What were the exact numbers?
75%. The constitution says if it's
for the dismissal. So did you get 75% of the people who are required to be there to vote? Can you say that? I just want you to confirm right here on radio for everybody.
Correct.
That you have those numbers.
Correct.
Okay, so
otherwise it would have never happened.
No, if this goes to court and in the near future, because I just want this on record.
Yeah.
Because at this point, to be honest with you, I honestly don't even care what you guys do in MDC. Because the chickens are going to come to roost at some point, and the liars will be seen by all the Zimbabwean people. So I just want to make sure you're on record.
Correct. You can, put it on record.
Okay.
75%.
You have the 66% required.
Correct.
By your constitution in a closed ballot.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Because you're lying. I will go on record saying you're lying. Yeah. I know that for a fact. But the future is going to bring out your lies.
No, I mean it. I don't.
No, it's okay, Fede.
Yeah, that's
fine. You're on record now. But I know because I can prove that you're lying.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I got what I'll do is I get reports as it happened, and that is the report that I have. I can only report officially from the report.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Mkoma Tafadzwa, Masora Sego. Sorry, I've got a headache now here. I'm trying to understand the whole jigsaw of it. And I know some people are saying, DJ DJ we want to hear Chokwani. So I don't know where to fall, which side to fall here. But I think I'm sure you called, you want to comment on something.
I'm going to comment on your discussion a bit here.
Yes.
You see, Inini, I once said, I'm going to support Chamisa if appointment yake passes my smell test, which was to follow the constitution. And in Dakar, how he rose to be the substantive president of the MDC, and it met all my tests that I required. I initially preferred to have had Mudzuri as the president of the MDC for my own personal reasons. But I saw the mood in the party. I saw what was galvanizing the party. I saw what was exciting the party. I saw that a lot of the young people, a lot of the street people, a lot of Zimbabweans, a lot of young, hopeful Zimbabweans, even a lot of elderly Zimbabweans were excited with Nelson Chamisa. And I asked myself, who am I to subvert the will of the people? If people are excited by him, why should I be the one to stand? Wow. That was my basis. But of course it was on condition. In sure no kuti Chamisa wacho arikupinda mpawa nenzira yakaita sei. Ini ndakaona nzira yakapinda iri very proper, iri very constitutional, and as it still says today, he is a substantive president of the MDC. And all the procedures and was appointed by the National Council, which is the highest decision-making body other than Congress in the MDC. So, Inini, I don't see anything wrong with his appointment. And you see, Isusu DJ Sodza, I'm just a member of the MDC. And we follow the party. We are just regular people. And we go with what is exciting. So when I say Kuru, when I'm going to teach, and my brother, Mr. Teze, they are in those echelons of power. One of my decision-making bodies or powers, and I've got to tell you, Kuti, these are the people sometimes who disappoint us. Because you remember, when I say Kuru, one way to join a party, but Rima membership is be member, support the struggle, and we do that. Then we are put with Zamanya provisions and all these things. And yet it is the stuff they should have taken care of. The very things they should have made sure do not happen in the first place. Because Pakistan Congress, you point to my true VPs, or when Maito Kozani Kufuor became vice president. When I say Kuru involved in the process, they knew exactly what happened. Isusu members saying, Chamisa akazo bapane zvakazoitwa asa wine what there was this and that. Taingondwa DJ Sodza. And we're members. That's all I am. I support the party. That's all I am, and that's all I want to be. But these people disappoint us. Nasi takuti tuda Chamisa watanga futi wakutamba tuma games to futi to tuma decision making bodies, those offices of influence. And these are the very people that disappoint us. You go to ZANU-PF, it's the same thing. Mkoma Tish was a member of ZANU-PF. He left Mkoma Tish and joined another party of sorts. And also because of power disputes that go on. ZANU-PF, it has happened. Maimjuraga splitter. Idiaga splitter or Mgabaga splitter. Same thing. Ango Marengenya. MDC, the same thing should be done. Never in the echelons of power. Isusu chingo gwabhurana tiri members chingo kwezverwa zvikanzi manyana kupe todhonzwa tonzi ndakwenda na kupe todhonzwa futi tonzi Chamisa. Disappointing.
Okay, thank you so much.
Disappointing. Yeah. Saka isusu ka DJ Sodza ndosaka takuti isusu takuda Chamisa ndo tukufamba naye. And all this power thing and all these things, they need to figure it out and stop it. They need to stop it and come together.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. Because the will of the people is more important. The will of the people is more powerful. So let that prevail.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mukoma Regaiti family Peritins go one. Mukoma Benford.
Yes, DJ Sodza.
Yes, Maswera say.
No, kunogurina no kumakadiwe.
Aiwa, at no fara chose. I'm just wondering, Kuti, how is America today?
America is right, sir.
No, right. Saka, maybe I'm sure Mafona Muine something you want to participate in it.
Yes, nyaya ndaibatira pamusoro. I think from zvananga ndichinzwa discussion yanga ichitwa nasekuru navapfebve it's an academic discussion. I think at this stage tinofanira kuti tarise what is in the interest of the people of Zimbabwe. It's unfortunate that all these people havana ma-interest evanhu. They want to save their own egos. That is why at this stage, Kupe and Chamisa have failed to find common ground. They want to save their own egos. That is their biggest problem. If they were serious about the people of Zimbabwe, this is an opportunity that they have. The next election is them to lose it. And they are on way to lose it. Not because of what ED has done or what ED is doing, but they are going to lose it because of their own selfishness. Number one, we need to stick to the constitution. You don't say we want to stick to a constitution selectively. Can a matter follow a constitution to what is written in the book? Munoz follow religiously. When the first term Yachangira 2 terms Zakwana, you should have gone. Nothing was said at that point. When he unilaterally appointed 2 vice presidents, nothing was done. Why didn't Iwo Sekura challenge him in court to say what you are doing? As a card-paying member MDC, why didn't he challenge that? Can I just stick on constitutionalism? The point that we need to make here, constitution tisitinoisa vanhu andirika tichitarisa ma-interest evanhu. At this point, kana takazvitarisa, do you think Kupe has a realistic chance of winning this coming election? With the time that is left, you might want to say, I want to stick in the constitution, but is there a realistic chance? There is no. The only person with a realistic chance of beating ED is Chamisa. So if you are serious about changing Zimbabwe and defeating ZANU-PF, whether you disagree and the way he was put in power, whether you follow constitution like in MDC, you need to realize that this is not the first time that constitution and for the sake of winning an election, you rally behind young Chamisa and you give your party a realistic chance. That is all I can say here.
So
otherwise,
so you no longer support ED? I'm just curious.
No, Inini, I say things as they are. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
I come back.
The best
of course, Benford supports ED. He's just stirring the pot.
I'm just curious.
Let me answer Rose this question here. She's saying whether I no longer support ED. We have all gone through those phases, Rose. We started supporting MDC when they came in. And it was painful to watch them lose direction. Like they are doing now is support. Is it worth supporting those people? That is what brings us to somebody like ED, because I then look at all the people there and I say, perhaps the option candidate here is ED. Because if Chamisa, if his party is integrating, Vanasekura, Vachilonja, 24-hour campaigns against Chamisa, Vanakupe, Vachituara, the Matebele and vote, which we thought was always guaranteed for the MDC. Then I'm left to say, at the end of this election, what I want is a legitimate government that is accepted in the international community so that we can work to develop our country. And the only option that is then left is ED.
Okay.
Right,
so
okay.
Now, Chamisa is
regai ndipindure because Benford
aiwa sekuru aiwa mambotaura serega position yenyu tiri kuiziva and hatingoti chachinja ba.
Right.
Are you? munotaura kuti ndinongoakizwa nezvinhu zvenhema ndonyarara.
Aiwa, position yenyu tiri kuiziva haisaki uri muriona vanhu vava kutoenda una ed muchingotimisa muchingonyara.
sekuru muda kupindura papiko pamanyombwa munhu angotaura kuti he thinks kuti whether Chamisa was there constitutionally or not, but it looks kunge ari kudiwa nevanhu, so be it. He doesn't think that Kupe would have inspired any hope for people. That's all he said there. I don't think vakunyomba, because you never said kuti muda kuvotera Kupe sekuru mangoti it was not constitutionally done. We know your position.
No, what you didn't hear him say was when I say Guru vari kuita academic discussion.
Oh, okay.
Ari kuti kana tichifollowa constitution tofana kuifollowa to the letter and the spirit of it, as if I have not followed it to the letter and spirit. Though my accusations I don't know kuti ndimupindure once and for all, I will never reply to him again. The first thing is in 2005 when there was a split in MDC was broken into two distinct parties. Or in fact, one party yakaenda na Welshman Mwe na Zimbabwe nema MPs. The other akasara vachisapota trade union, akasara vachisapota Changirai. Ndokubva vati hatizvidi izvozvo, let's form our party new one. And they formed a new party which had the first congress in February 2006. That party yakafomiwa ikanyora constitution yayo new one isina materm limits. Saka ndo party yandandiri inini. Saka zvokuti toda kuteedza materm limits handizi kuti ari kuzwanepi zvakaenda naWelshman kana achiteedza kwaWelshman ndakandisiko.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Ndirisponde kuna Sekuru. Ndo vananyarara. Sekuru, what you are missing here is we have a crucial election coming in 3 months' time. And yet you want to give us all these historical lessons. It doesn't matter. There is an important election coming. And what is the strategy to win that election?
Benford, you are completely lost, because the reason why I want the Congress, the extraordinary Congress, to be held before the elections is for that exact reason. How can we be let into an election that crucial with an interim president? Iwewe kauchifunga kuti nezero redu irori rokuti tachembera kuita ndebvu dzakachena tichisapota party kuti itore simba tonzi chinda election nemwana asina kubva kucongress.
Chamisa asi mwana ero.
No, let me tell you, kwendiri Chamisa nemwana wangu Chamisa mudiki.
Aiwa panapa takutaura politics. We can't start comparing with vana vangu. Chamisa.
No, the issue is anybody who is
Aiwa. That's rather belittling somebody in office.
No. You see, that's where you have got it all wrong. I have got.
DJ, can I say something?
Right.
Everyone
is biased now. Even generational consensus is saying anyone over the age of 40 is old.
No.
It's on both
sides. Guys. Okay. Hold on, guys. Ndingaitoita ndikazokata vanhu apa ndisikuda kudaro. Now, mukoma Soshe, because time yapera vamwe vasati vataura. Wasoshe taura itinzo.
Right. I have 3 important points to make, DJ, and in doing so, I'll also be responding to some of the dreamers who are thinking that Chamisa is going to win 51% and become president of Zimbabwe. They are saying he is the only one who has a realistic chance of becoming president. I'm going to come to that, but I also want to mention that Sekuru and Thokozani never said that Thokozani was going to be the president. Thokozani was only saying, and even myself, that's also my position, people are only saying there should have been a Congress where those people who were interested in the position would have put their heads in the ring. And that's what Thokozani is saying, and I'm talking from an informed position. So it's not like Thokozani was saying, I want to be the president. So you can't say Chamisa and Thokozani. Now, the three important points that I want to make is responding to
Thokozani said she's the president.
Thokozani is having a Congress
you need to, no.
in 2 weeks.
Guys,
no, Thokozani
is from that. You need to
can we give Chief
Okay, guys, I'm sorry, please, guys, I might have to take other people out there. Go ahead, Wasos.
The three important points that I want to make, judging from what the topic that you introduced about MDC. One, the alliance that people are talking about is going to fall through before the election. That alliance will not be there as far as I know, and as far as I'm seeing it, it will not be there. If the alliance is going to survive, it will be an alliance on Chamisa, BT, and Welshman Ngube. So at the end of the day, we have a situation where Thokozani, who was saying she doesn't want the alliance, and Chamisa, who is pretending to like the alliance, but he doesn't like the alliance, will be at the same position. Why am I saying that? I'm reliably informed that right now as we are speaking, Brigadier Mtambara, all his statistics that we were given, Chamisa has fielded candidates there. And I'm also reliably informed by officials in Jacob Ngaruvume's Transform Zimbabwe that all his 19 seats, people have been MDC has fielded candidates there. So you are seeing a situation where fellow alliance members are being frustrated out of the alliance. I don't see that alliance surviving until election. And the other reason why Chamisa would not want that alliance to survive is he is not going to risk, like what people were saying, he is not going to risk registering MDC alliance to go and contest elections as MDC alliance and leave maybe Thokozani or whoever would have won at that Congress that Thokozani is having to go and contest as MDCT. That's not going to happen. So I don't see him registering the MDC alliance. I don't think we are going to see the MDC alliance on the ballot box. Second point, if you look at the statements that Chamisa has been saying, you will see that we are being primed or we are being romanced, or prepared for things that are going to come. The first statement that he said was, we should respect Emerson Mnangagwa. He's a liberation icon. Why is he telling us that Mnangagwa, all of a sudden, he is now a liberation icon? The person who presided over the death of over 20,000 people, the person who looted over 16 billion, the person who has been killing people, the person who was with Mugabe when our economy was being riled down. Now he has become a liberation icon. This is an opposition leader who is saying that. And you will also look at the other statement that Chamisa said. We are going to start attending national events like the Independence Day. The reason in the first place why Morgan Tsvangirai boycotted that was that because he sincerely believed that Zimbabweans were not independent. And Chamisa is saying we should now start doing that. He's also saying we should also go to the Heroes Acre and commemorate Heroes Day. What are we commemorating? Those heroes, are they our heroes? What have they contributed to the country? And we are supposed to go in. So now we are seeing a situation where we are being forced or primed to like Mnangagwa, or prepared for something that is going to happen between Mnangagwa and Chamisa, which obviously is a GNU. So we are heading towards a GNU. And if you also look at the other statement that Chamisa said. He said, we are not going to if electoral reforms are not met or are not implemented, we are not going to boycott elections. There is no boycott. These are his own words. I'm quoting. There is no boycott. We are not going to have elections. Now, if we ask ourselves, what did he mean? Does Chamisa have any powers to stop elections in Zimbabwe? He's not the president. How is he going to convince Mnangagwa that we should not have elections because you have not implemented reforms? So in my own view, we are again being primed for a postponement of elections. I don't know how he is going to do that, but in my own view, there is an agreement already where elections might not be held or will be held, but will end up with a unit government anyway, with Chamisa being prime minister and Mnangagwa remaining as president.
Okay.
That's where we are heading.
All right. Thank you.
Objection. These are theories and hypotheses.
Oh, okay. All right. No, that's fine. Okay. Thank you so much. And Susie, no, Sally, you haven't said anything then about this.
Do you know something? The more I listen to what's going on, I love the discussion between Sekuru and Fefe. But the problem is, if you've got two people that are so highly involved in MDC, to me it's still MDC, okay? And they can't agree on something, then something is wrong. Then the other thing that actually scared the knickers off me, okay, was Tawanda. When you see how popular, then you follow. Please, people, this is what's killing Zimbabwe. Because you see something that's popular, whether you agree with it or not, you follow it. For heaven's sake. You know the sheep that all went to the middle of the road because one sheep went and stood with his head down in the middle of the road, so they all followed. A car came along and smacked and killed a whole lot of them. You've got to learn individuality, for heaven's sake, and to stand up against the mainstream when you know that it's not right. Don't convince yourself into these situations. I'm not saying Tawanda convinced himself. That is his problem. I'm talking about the young Zimbabweans. To stop convincing yourself into these bullshit situations. Once you've got to make an excuse to convince yourself of something, forget it. The minute you've got to make an excuse, you know it's wrong. The situation, the political situation in Zimbabwe wouldn't be happening. MDC, ZANU-PF, whatever it is, wouldn't be happening if the people realize that they have the power and nobody else. And if they went and stood up for what they personally believe in, okay, we wouldn't have this mess that we have now. I'm sorry, Chamisa is a power-hungry, grabbing little scumball, okay? I don't care if he stood in front of a Congress and got himself voted in as president. The way that he achieved what he has achieved is disgusting, it's low, and it shows exactly what he's interested in. And it ain't the people. It's power. Finished. Mnangagwa, please. That man, how do you know he's lying? He moves his lips. And if you've got to convince yourself, oh, well, the West is going to support Mnangagwa. The West will only support Mnangagwa because they are allowed to, because the people of Zimbabwe allow them to support Mnangagwa. They don't stand up. So you know what? You're in the situation you're in because that's what you've wanted. That's what you've chosen.
Okay.
And MDC, I'm disgusted with you. From the top down to the bottom. Seriously. You allow this nonsense to go on for how long? And everybody's sitting. What you waiting for? The Jongwe to get its head back. Sorry, it ain't going to happen. Because they've eaten the Jongwe head, they're so greedy. So it ain't going to get its head back. So we sit. We wait and see. Give him a chance. You people, while the people in Zimbabwe rot, everybody's arguing over who's right and who's wrong, and allowing people to jump into places that they don't belong. No, I'm sorry.
All right.
Can I have one final question?
Rosie, can you just keep quiet for a moment? It's getting to the stage where I am really sick and tired of it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sally. Okay.
DJ, I never actually said anything. I just asked my question.
Oh, go ahead.
I only have one request. For all the guys in MDC, please let Jessima Jome run in her constituency. Please stop removing good people. That's my only request. And I don't have a lot to say about what goes on in MDC anymore, because I am 100% sure in a few months the truth will come out. And my hope is when the truth starts surfacing, everybody who took a specific side, when they're proven wrong and they're proven to be liars, they own up to the Zimbabwean people and they apologize. But otherwise, Jessima Jome is the only person I actually have admired in Parliament, what she stands for. And so it shocks me that that woman is being forced out.
Can I say something, DJ?
Can I say something?
Okay, guys, hold on a second. Thank you so much, Teteros. I'm sure they are listening.
I think the tragedy here is that we know ZANU-PF has been rigging elections. And when you have got chaos in the main opposition party, that only opens the door for ZANU-PF to rig elections. And that is the tragedy that we are facing here. And in this particular case, one of the problems that some of the international observers, including SADC, have is they, even if they say we don't want ZANU-PF to rig the election, they have to turn around and say, but what is the alternative? And that is what is the tragedy here. But to come back to this MDC saga, in this particular case, I think we could argue until the cow comes home and saying, oh, Chamisa is the only one with a chance of leading MDC. And Kupe and their supporters will say the same thing. This is why you must have free, fair, and credible elections, so that everybody has got a chance and they lose and they can see that, yes, okay, I didn't have the support. But as long as you go into power without that process, everybody can always claim that they had a chance. This is why, even coming back to the national elections, ZANU-PF can claim, oh, we have got the massive support. As long as the elections are not free and fair, people will turn around and say, no, you don't. Because if you had the support, why did you rig the elections? So we are going back to the same problem over and over again. And I think it's a pity. And I think personally, and I've been one of the few people who have been saying here that MDC has got a serious problem. And because they failed to address those problems, now MDC is disintegrating. And it's disintegrating at a time when the country desperately needed a sense of direction. And that, to me, is the great tragedy here.
All right. Aywa, thank you so much. Mkoma, teach your few words there, please.
All I just wanted to say, it was a very empowering conversation. Mkoma Pepe Nasekuru. I think it touched the real essence of this program, which is to have a diversity of views on specific issues. And I'm left still convinced that Sekuru's position is the right position, and that Chamisa, for all his popularity, should have gone properly through the necessary channels. And right now, we're having a united family, not a disunited. Because right now, we also have issues of people being paid because they're perceived as the sympathizers, even the remaining support base that they have. And that only undermines the credibility of the opposition to ZANU-PF. So I'm now bracing myself for fate.
Is it too late for Chamisa to do what Sekuru is advocating?
It's never too late. But does he have that?
Yeah.
That's where the problem is. Because if he had the guts, that's what he needs to do. Because as I was saying, when Changirai realized that Kupe was not going to join him in launching the alliance or running the alliance, he didn't fire Kupe. He continued to engage with him on MDCT issues and tried to bring it to the alliance. So at the end of the day, it's a pity, that Changirai died before these issues were resolved. But as Sekuru clearly pointed out, is that the new constitution at that Congress that was held after the split clearly stated that there were no term limits, etc. And that was a clear sign that the MDC had reformed, afresh. So to then go back and say there were other people that were fired before, but the United MDC does not hold water. The current MDC is the one that we are talking about, and whether it was the right way for Chamisa to ascend or not, the right way to fire. These are the only two things. The rest of what we're talking about are
Right. Mukomatish, thank you so much. And I'll keep up with a couple of minutes. But regarding wearing this, it's interesting indeed. I'm not going to say his name, but to be fair, he's been listening to the show, I think from day one we started the show. And I've listened to Pepe for a very long time on this program. And I had come to respect him as one of the champions of advocating for democratic principles. I have now come to realize that he is just like any other politicians who do the expedient thing to advance their own personal interest. His stance is that of expedience devoid of any principle. I actually went to Zimbabwe to register to vote, hoping to help finish off ZANU-PF, but MDC has totally demoralized me. This is one of the listeners that listen to the show all the time and for a very, very, very long time. You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you very much. And I'm glad that cinema engagements come up. Well, politics is not for the faint-hearted, and that's as much as I can answer that part of the of the political question. But what I'm saying is, let me first address Kuna Tete Rose. I think Tete Rose put it across very well in terms of just Majom. I mean, she's an MP that I also adore. She communicates on the social media on what is happening in constituents, which is quite good. Very rare for other MPs. But what I'm saying is, democracy means that, unfortunately, within MDC, if somebody challenges you as an MP from a primary, then obviously it has to go to the primary election.
No one can challenge. No one can challenge the president.
No, you can challenge the president.
Challenge another MP who's good, who's done more than the president.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hang on.
And, I hope to God you will have the guts in a few months to apologize to the Zimbabwean people.
No, you can challenge the president. You can challenge any post, right? This is why even Changarai.
The president is running unelected, so you can't say that.
No. But what I'm saying,
your president is unelected. Your president has not been challenged by anyone.
All right.
No, you can challenge him. You are allowed to challenge him. But what I'm saying, we have got
put that out there. But you're going to remove somebody who's worked hard.
No, nobody's moving here. Nobody's moving here.
I say you will apologize to the Zimbabwean people in a few months because I will hold you accountable.
Nobody's removing here.
I will hold you accountable for every lie you have told on this show. I will hold you accountable for every lie.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Hold on.
Please.
Go ahead.
210. We have got 210 constituencies, right? Now, the constitution, both the constitution of the country and of any other political party, is that at the end of parliament, all those MPs are now in void. They have to seek the mandate of the people. The constitution. The constitution is what you're saying is, if you are doing a good job and nobody challenges you, then obviously you become the candidate unopposed. But there are some people who may challenge you, not necessarily because you were not doing a good job. There are some people who are trying, they are lucky, but don't care about them. If you are doing a good job, don't care about them. You got the primary, you used to win. I'm saying if Jessie has been doing a good job in her constituency, no matter 1,000 people challenges her, she will still be the candidate for the MDC. That's democracy. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Zimbabwe, it's 2 minutes gone after the hour of midnight. My thanks to everyone who have participated on the show. We shall meet again next week to buy another episode of the show. It's been a very, very, very long day for me, guys. So I'm not going to waste time here. I think
lleno de matero, será lleno de satura como bendita, ahora es en el curu llene vano, cote matende se sakana tangano, padara es amno tenga, nenzira sakana moto se nosotros samunenge matura badara zamno tenga nenzira zatanaka moto se nosotros samunenge matura tisole tinotura lleno de macedo será ese nosotros Satura como bendita, ahora es en el chica, curu llene verano, cote mate en vestite, sakana sangano, tisa ete cheo como mundo y